Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Monday to you. I hope you all having a fantastic day. Happy Monday, of course, but also a nice little green day here. Bitcoin up 1.5%, doing fairly well. A lot of altcoins are following suit. So we're going to take a look at this ascending trend line, kind of make sure that we will respect that. And also, interestingly enough, Bitcoin has the exact same pattern here, where it's got a resistance range from previous, like late August at 64.5. And we can see the same thing here reflected on 153 for Solana. So right there, we got that little guy we want to kind of pay attention to. In other words, the price responded pretty well to rejecting off that initial retest. And at this point, we could very well see a continuation to retest that level, sweep some extra liquidation, kind of go from there. At least that's what Bitcoin's looking like. It's not a guarantee Solana's going to follow suit, but at this point, we're seeing a very similar pairing and a very I guess you could say almost a one-to-one chart. So it's absolutely looking very similar. So quick congrats to our community. Thanks again for the awesome feedback. We took some nice profits on the long for Bitcoin, 28%, Aptos short, 21%. We had to close our SUI short, honestly, and unfortunately, kind of got bit in the butt on that one. But man, if you're going to short anything, don't short SUI. Take it from me. All right, folks. Again, even though there's every single confirming factor is going to pull back, we came really close to our target and just turned around, never looked back. So that will happen. Take your losses in stride, folks. It's perfectly normal. It's an absolutely common thing in the industry. The key takeaway here is that you take more wins than losses and that you're using good risk tolerance. So just a really heads up, friendly advice. Adjust your stop loss as you continue into profit. It's really the key takeaway, I would say, that most people fail to do. They'll get greedy. They'll set aggressive targets. You can't really do that in this market with so many candle wicks up and down. You're going to get destroyed, especially using high leverage. We only use 5x leverage on alts and 10x for Bitcoin. Okay, so just friendly advice: keep your liquidation low, and I think your your volume low, essentially your position size more importantly. That way you don't get absolutely destroyed, and obviously low leverage is important so you don't get liquidated. So Solana here, what we want to look at here is 155 to 153. There's somewhat of a liquidation range there, but not a lot. Majority of the liquidation got swept here at about 152. So it would make sense for the price action to continue lower here now that now that market makers did their thing, right? They destroyed a lot of accounts. So like, okay, cool, we're going to just go ahead and secure some profits. We'll wait for the next opportunity. We can see here, of course, as well, there is a lot of liquidation on the upside here. That's roughly about a 2-week-old liquidation level at about 163. I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon, or immediately rather, unless Bitcoin makes a run for it. But just know 158 to 162 is also a concentration of liquidation. So the key takeaway here is that this doesn't tell us a tremendous amount. I think the important thing is that our delta has shifted from minus $500 million to almost approximately plus $500 million, or more importantly, just 300 million at this point, where we got more people taking longs than shorts. Now, again, I know that could be like kind of confusing because it's like, well, aren't they just going to get destroyed anyways because we have more people taking longs, and then aren't we going to sweep that? The short answer is yes, that's generally how it works. But for right now, until the trend lines are broken, we got to presume it's going to continue. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. Either way you look at it, 143, 144 is that current open interest area. So we're above that, plus we have more longs in the market. There's a greater chance we're going to see further upside here from Solana. But again, this ascending trend line, once it's broken, maybe a different story altogether. Let's go ahead and draw out some new fibs here and go ahead and get started. Future reference to, I always post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. That is available pretty much anywhere linked down below. You shouldn't have any trouble finding it, but it looks a little something like this where I kind of provide you with insight and knowledge on things that I'm looking to trade. So again, as per usual, Bitcoin saw the same exact thing here, a rejection off this 0.618 fib level initially. Okay, it's always going to work as a resistance just based on how natural retracement occurs. So having seen that, we can recognize that the price action, while we're honoring our ascending trend line, has hit a key level resistance. Okay, so we may not be able to surpass that level for a short while. It really just depends. I mean, with Bitcoin, for example, I'm looking for a long in the low 63K range. I think we could see some retracement to fill this fair value gap. If that happens, then Solana will probably hit 147, 144 is a worst case. And you're probably thinking out loud right now, wait a minute, if we hit those levels, or at least 144, wouldn't we effectively be ending this ascending trend? Wouldn't we be breaking the trend line? Short answer is yes, that's true, but also long answer is no, because there's a lot of support in that range too. Okay, there's some contributing factors we want to kind of look at. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the daily, work our way down. and go from there. And let's go ahead and see here. First of all, we're over 50 in the RSI. Bitcoin, same thing. Good money flow index, stochastic swinging up. These are all generally favorable signs. We can look here too as well. We can recognize that our moving averages are a little different than Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we're actually above a few important ones and or testing the key level resistance there at about 63.5. But when we look at Solana, we are well below the 200 SMA. So you need to recognize that that's not really a great thing, and that can work out disadvantageously. In other words, it just kind of reaffirms the resistance above us, and that we're going to probably need more volume to get through that, and that's going to it's going to require Bitcoin to make a run towards 65K. Taking a look here, of course, we can see MACD is trying to converge. Trend strength is low, so for the most part, we see some positive stuff here. It's like 60% beneficial, but there's also that other 40% that's glaringly obvious that we haven't broken free from our descending type of, I wouldn't say a descending trend because we obviously did that, but we haven't broken free from to prove that we're in a bullish trend now, right? However, being above this local high, above this 0.5 fib level is extremely important. So we see a closure of 148 or higher today, good chance we're going to see further upside. And again, that comes with a caveat because Asian markets open as soon as the daily candlestick closes. So that's a very odd thing in most cases. Either way, we'll talk about that later. Take a look here, of course, at stochastic pulling back. That's as per usual, normal. I think we are going to see a bit of a correction here. And then, of course, we got money flow index and RSI quite high. MFI being above the RSI, it's always beneficial. And I talk about this a lot too. You'll see skewed money flow index on Mondays because of the weekends having low volume. So please understand that this isn't like a massive buy sign here. You're probably going to see some green dots on whatever indicator it is that you're using. But generally speaking, at this point, that's mostly favorable, but still somewhat of a false positive. So be careful just kind of falling for the money flow index on Monday, at least the buy signals on Monday, if that's one thing that you see. Not saying the price shouldn't continue higher. Honestly, we're honoring this ascending trend line. There's a great chance we will see it continue, but if the price does pull back, we just got to be kind of ready for it. If we look at the hourly here, we can confirm that we have all green lights here, and you look at Bitcoin too, same scenario, all right? So there's really no reason to short into this. You're better off waiting for a long that either doesn't happen or happens and you're happy that you waited for it, okay? Again, I know it's easy to say, of course, but being more of a patient trader myself, I prefer to wait for better opportunities that may never occur versus jumping into bad ones and forcing a trade that turns around on you quickly. And I've done it all. Trust me, folks. I still do it occasionally, but on the same accord, you do it less as you learn from your mistakes. And at this point, I think we just need to recognize that we're more likely to see further upside than downside. However, having swept all that liquidation there, the more immediate stuff, unless Bitcoin makes a run for it, I don't think Solana's going to do much of it. Much on its own just yet. Until we see that separation between the two, then that's kind of where you're at. Future reference too, if you just got offended by what I just said or what you saw here so far, you're probably in the wrong place because I'm going to always tell you straight how it is. I have no emotional bias towards any coin, and you shouldn't either. If you are, then you probably gotta do something different because honestly, when you're trading and you're like passionate and you're fiery about how great the project is and the price goes down, I know it doesn't make a ton of sense, but the market has a lot of greed in it, and those people that are super greedy are generally not you and I. So I would recommend not being greedy because that's the only way that we can be profitable. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if we understand those market makers and what they're planning to do at this point, they're probably due to correct the price action for a little bit, then we can be a little more successful. Okay, enough about that. I talk about that often, so appreciate you watching. Thanks so much again for your time. Make sure you reference BitUnix too, folks. A lot of nice little benefits this month here, of course, for those who've used my link to register in the past or just use the one that's linked down below. So check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I look forward to working with you. Jump on over to our Discord, Telegram, or Twitter and get to know the community. We've got a really good group of folks there. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.